Hey, this is Brass Check, and we're recording this on September 2nd, Monday, 2024. Children'shealthdefense.org has a pretty good news service called The Defender, and they had two really important articles. I mean, one of the challenges with The Defender is they publish so much, sometimes the things that are most important get overlooked. Are people getting vaccine injured? Yes, they are. And here's the story. The US actually had to pay $370,376 for a COVID vaccine injury. And yet, thousands of claims are languishing. So, how did that work? It's a myocarditis related injury. It came from the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. It was just one of 14, only 14 injury claims that have been approved. How many claims have been filed? 13,356. 13,356. And you better believe that that is at most a mere 10%, probably less than 1% of all the people who were injured, because the amount of hassles and expense you have to go through to file a claim is extraordinary. Done by design, by the way, during the Bill Clinton administration. Even though this particular compensation scheme is COVID related, it was Bill Clinton who made it virtually impossible for people injured by vaccines to file for compensation. The guy you want to read about this is Wayne Rohde. He's the best. He wrote a book called The Vaccine Court 2.0. And he tells us that this was the largest dollar amount award in the COVID area so far. And he's guessing that we can only assume it was for reimbursed medical expenses and a possible combination with lost wages. So that's that story. 14 people out of the, what's that number there? Basically 1 out of 10,000. Is that right? Yeah. No, 1 out of 1,000 have had their claims approved. And we're going to say for if there's 13,000 claims, there are probably at least one. Wow, this is a big number. Because if you say 1%, which I think is very reasonable, actually injured people actually filed, that brings this up to 1.13 million people. All right, so that's that story. Then they ran this story. It's not enough that they coerced all these people with deceit and threats. What kind of threats? Threats of career termination into getting these injections, which we still don't fully know what was in them, by the way. That drum should be beaten every day. We still don't know what was in these injections. Anyway, AstraZeneca, when it did its medical trial, said, hey, here's the deal. If you'll be part of this trial as a good citizen, and by the way, guys, don't be a good citizen, be a good community member. Don't be a good citizen because, well, for obvious reasons. Here's a lady that did the right thing, or she thought was the right thing because the world was coming to an end. And she joined the medical trial. She was promised that her medical expenses would be paid if she was injured. And maybe not. AstraZeneca wants immunity. Boy, that's just pretty much amazing. This is the British-Swedish vaccine maker is asking the court to dismiss a lawsuit filed by Brianne Dressen, who alleges the company reneged on its contract, which promised to compensate clinical trial participants for injuries they sustained. So in other words, they were promised, it was contracted, and now AstraZeneca is using its superior force, legal force, to bludgeon this poor woman and everyone else who was part of their trial who was injured into not receiving any more money. Or excuse me, any money at all, any compensation at all. There's another story. Pfizer COVID vaccine was a catalyst in the death of a 34-year-old man. There's a case. He was flourishing after his first dose, and he died after the vaccine. And the Biomedical Science and Clinical Research published a peer-reviewed case report detailing the mechanisms through which the vaccine caused an acute aortic dissection that killed her son. 34-year-old, perfect health. This has obviously happened a lot. So these are some stories that the Defender has covered. They are definitely worth subscribing to. If you want to track this particular kind of news, there's a lot of it. It's like a fire hose. From time to time, we'll look at some highlights and share them with you. So that's it for today, and see you next time.